Could a Super Bowl winning quarterback be headed to the ever dramatic and entertaining NFC East? We don't stop. The offseason is here, but that just means things are only heating up with the Flex Zone podcast. Football really never ends, and neither do we here on the Flex Zone podcast. Flex Zone family, football fans, welcome into another video on your Football Friday. Make sure, if you're new here, you go ahead and sack that subscribe button. Stafford, that subscribe button. What do you think about Matthew Stafford possibly being traded? Make sure you comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on Matthew Stafford. Do you want to see him traded? Do you want to see him go to the Giants? Giants fans, do you want him? Make sure you go ahead and tag with that thumbs up. Leave us a thumbs up because it's fireworks every time we step on the scene. And we got great content coming to you. It's Valentine's Day. We love you. Appreciate you, Flex Zone family. And if you haven't already blitzed that bell, let's talk about some more off-season rumors and innuendo. It's the Flex Zone with another NFL free agency video on your Football Fridays, your love days, right here on the only place giving it to you how you want it. So, as the football world turns, we have another name potentially on the move, potentially wanting to be moved due to the money. Obviously, this is going to come down to contractual obligations, contractual situations, and that's what we're running into here with the Los Angeles Rams and their quarterback, Super Bowl winning quarterback, Hall of Fame bound quarterback Matthew Stafford is apparently, looks like he does currently on his contract have 2025 this season and 2026 next season. $49 million cap hit and a $53 million cap hit after 2026. He is 37. He will be 38. Then in 2027 at age 39, he will be an unrestricted free agent. As mentioned, his cap hit 49, almost 50 million this year, almost 54 million next year. But let's get into the details of what was talked about, because there is a rumor that he's being to the New York Giants. As you can see, the Rams would want the number 3 overall pick for the Matthew Stafford trade that the Giants currently hold in the draft in April. Now, this is coming from Colin Cowherd, so take it with a grain of salt. He says the Rams don't want to restructure Stafford's deal and are getting tired of his wife constantly talking to the public. The Rams could then use the number 3 pick to trade down to acquire more picks or to move up potentially for a quarterback in 2026. Now, I'm not going to get anybody's personal life. It's Valentine's Day. We're spreading love and positivity. But Matthew Stafford's wife in the past have said some goofy things. If you're not sure of what she said, I think just to kind of put it in a Cliff Notes accelerated summary, I think she mentioned about her past relations with other men while in front of her husband and maybe how he was not living up to certain expectations in certain areas of said relationship like these gentlemen were, putting it PG. And then there are rumors, that she, like I said, she has a podcast and she is one of the wives who is in front of the media who wants to be a superstar in her own right. And I think she deserves that because I think these individuals sacrifice a lot and so do their families. So if she wants to monetize off of her name, her insight, her popularity, her side of the business, being a wife, a mother in the NFL of a professional athlete, I'm not mad at it. But if you didn't hear what she had to say or said in the past, just do this.
Google it.
But we got to go to the Rams perspective real quick because wasn't Sean McVay, and shout out to my boy here, his thoughts, Rams fan, part of the Flex Zone family. You can check him out with us each and every live stream. Make sure you check out his channel. Didn't they want, or wasn't there speculation that Sean McVay last year potentially was mulling over retirement or leaving? I didn't think he was going to retire. I thought it was a leverage and a ploy for more money or maybe go to another opportunity. But he's in LA. He's in a big market. This team every year is competitive. We write them off. We talk about how they don't have draft picks in the first round. They draft and develop wonderfully in rounds 3 through 7. Jared Verse, a second rounder. They got Fisk this past year. Kyron Williams, Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, who they also talked about they want to get rid of. So they could be unloading not only Matthew Stafford, their quarterback, which is the hardest position in sports and the hardest position to get right. They could be offloading over the past 5 to 7 years their best receiver. So that could be 2 major holes for the Rams in a division with, you think the 49ers are going to be back. The Cardinals are hanging around. And you got to think the Seahawks may take another step with Mike McDonald. So division never easy. For them to win it this year, it is clearly something. Now, from a Giants perspective, you give up the number 3 pick. We know a quarterback weak draft. You get a quarterback in Matthew Stafford, not the youngest bell at the ball. Obviously, going to be 37 this year, going to be 38. But I know he's a statue. He doesn't move around well. He's only a pocket passer. But let's not forget the Rams were one play away. They were on a drive, a game-winning drive, a game-tying drive against the Eagles in the snow, which they're not accustomed to. Take note, Miami. And they were in a chance to potentially tie up or win the game. Matthew Stafford let his team down the field. He did. He definitely did that. And potentially saying, hey, if you're the Giants, and I've seen other people talking about why he should go, and we can go through that. Look at Neighbors. He's a superstar. We know how good he can pick that up straight from. You see, I heard he was talking about. This is the picture. This is the pitch. This is the number 1 receiver. Tyrone Tracy is a piece. The offensive line is terrible. And it's not a strong offensive line draft. But Brian Daboll and Matthew Stafford, they could do some things together. I'm not going to lie. They still would be probably the 4th best team in that division, even with Matthew Stafford. But they don't believe in any of the quarterbacks this draft. I really don't either. But the Rams, why would you trade a guy who you can probably at least get, if you don't work out anything new, you get 2 more years out of him. You got a 2-year window. Go get it. If you get rid of Cooper Kupp, you still got Puka. You still have Kyron Williams. You still got Jared Verse, Frisk, and a wonderful young defense. I'm sure they're going to draft and develop even more players well. I probably wouldn't make this deal if I'm the Giants. And looking at the strength of the quarterback class, I may go with an Abdul Carter. I may go with the Travis Hunter, depending on how the board falls. I may trade back 2 or 3 spots. If somebody wants to come up and give me what I want draft compensation-wise, because I have a lot of holes to fill, and I'm clearly in need of talent to compete with the Philadelphias, the Dallas Cowboys, and now the Washington Commanders in my division. Maybe I can trade down from 3, go to 6 or 7. Maybe the Raiders want to jump up. Maybe, I don't know, the Pittsburgh Steelers or some of these other teams, the New Orleans Saints, somebody who needs a quarterback may try to jump up, may say, hey, we'll give you a first next year. We'll give you a second this year. We'll give you ultimate draft capital and the ability in a stronger quarterback class next year to draft a quarterback with a plethora of picks. It's New York. It's a big market. Not everybody can do it. Not everybody's equipped to handle the off the field as much as the on the field when it comes to New York. But you want to talk about trying to run your coach out of the ground or run him out of town. Sean McVay would not be cool with his quarterback that he won a Super Bowl with, by the way, leaving him here today. Now, we do got to look at the stats. Now, I am a little concerned. Stafford, over the past few years, has regressed a little bit in regards to yards since 2023, the last 2 years in 2024. He's played 15 games in 2023, 16 in 2024. In 2023, pretty much 4,000 yards, 3,965. 2024, he drops to 3,700. 24 touchdowns in 2023 and only 20 touchdowns in 2024. Now, obviously, he may have lost a little bit on his fastball. He never was mobile, but he's not as mobile as he once was. And he is the OG of the sidearm throw. We got to give him his credit. We got to give him his flowers. He is indeed the OG of the sidearm throw. So Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, when you see all that, Kyler Murray, give credit to the OG, Matt Stafford, for throwing those sidearm passes. And even his years in Detroit, he put up great numbers. Only went to the playoffs, one time? But you look at his years in Detroit from 2009 to 2020. Then he's now going into his 5th year potentially with LA. He's won a Super Bowl finally. He's on a Hall of Fame trajectory. He's won a Super Bowl, as I mentioned. The Rams are still competitive in the NFC. Outside of what? The Eagles, Commanders, if you want to put the Lions in there, or you want to put, I guess, maybe Minnesota, Green Bay. The NFC has some openings for teams to rise up. And I'm not saying the Giants will be a playoff team. I'm not saying they will go to the Super Bowl, New York, but getting Matthew Stafford, and that would make you better, but still not make you better than the Eagles, the Commanders, or the Cowboys even. It may make you right on the heels of the Cowboys because you got Dexter Lawrence. You have some pieces on defense, Ojulari. Hopefully they can get some from Maryland Terp, Deontay Banks. The offensive line, like I said, needs help. But they got Tracy. They got Malik Neighbors in the draft. They had a good draft, and I believe they drafted some good young defensive pieces, especially in the secondary as well. But New York is cursed. You've seen what happened in the same stadium, the same building pretty much with the Jets. Aaron Rodgers, he's gone. Now, does the other New York team want to bring in an aging veteran quarterback? I think Giants fans would go crazy because they know they're not ready to compete right now. And they know they got a dead coach walking and a dead GM walking. And like I said, Sean McVay is one of the 5 best coaches in the NFL. We can't argue that. His ability to coach and scheme guys open is unmatched. Only guys like Andy Reid. Give a shout out to his guy O'Connell, Shanahan, who he beats up on all the time. Even big love to some of the other guys who don't always get some of the love he's worked with, guys like Cliff Kingsbury. So there are a lot of pieces to the Sean McVay tree. Obviously, with what he's done, coming from Washington, being the youngest coach in the NFL, handling it with just a mental capacity and wisdom beyond his years, this would piss him off. And I think he would be not long for LA. Because who's his replacement? They would have nobody to replace Matthew Stafford with.
Oh, go Google it.
But it really would set the franchise back of the Rams at least a couple of years. And it would put the Giants in a, yeah, we're good, we're better, we're improved, but we're not quite good enough to really make a run at a championship. We may be able to win 8 or 9 games, but at best, we may be a fringe wildcard team. And we got a very exciting young receiver and running back and some good pieces on defense, but are we going to be better than Philly? Are we going to be better than the Commanders? Our best bet for 2025 is to go 7-10, 8-9, and beat out the Cowboys for 3rd place. That's where we're at right now. But I want to hear from you guys in the comment section. What do you think? I do think Matthew Stafford is losing a little bit on his fastball, but who would you rather have? Would you then maybe see a scenario where we could get maybe, I don't know, Matthew Stafford possibly traded to the New York Giants for that number 3 pick? And then maybe in a shocking kind of event, we get Aaron Rodgers going to LA to team up with Sean McVay for 1 year. And Sean McVay used the draft pick that he has to then acquire his quarterback in 2026, maybe, with the flexibility to move around. These are the things. I'm all about long-term booking. I'm all about long-term vision, long-term work. If he does go to New York and then his life, and then maybe Aaron Rodgers took him for a year, and they can do what they need to do in 2026, draft the right guy, with the draft capital they have, put him in, and maybe they'll have something. But what say you? Is Matthew Stafford done? I think not. I think he's got at least 2 years left, like he does on his contract. If they don't want to pay him, don't give him an extension. Obviously, the Giants would be the suckers to do so. I can see the Giants giving him another year or 2 on his contract, giving him the money he wants. Essentially, which would probably just be, here's 50, 60 million up front. We'll add another year, void out some years, spread out the money so it helps our cap. You get your money up front. Everybody's happy. Sean McVay maybe has a chance at Aaron Rodgers, or I don't know, maybe draft capital to get a guy next year. But he just had the guy talking about he was contemplating retirement last year. Aaron Donald left. Didn't think much of the Rams this year, but they overachieved, got to the NFC divisional round, lost to the eventual Super Bowl champions. The Giants need help in the worst way, but they got something with Malik Neighbors. They got something with Tyrone Tracy. They had some injuries. Dexter Lawrence is a stud. Daboll was pretty much a dead coach walking, but we'll see what happens. But let me know about the Matthew Stafford trade. Would you do the trade? Would you give up the number 3 pick? Would you then take in a 37-year-old quarterback when you have a lot of holes and you're still only going to probably at best be a 7-8 win team, 3rd best in your division? Because Matthew Stafford isn't better than Jalen Hurts right now. He's not better than Jaden Daniels, and he's not better than Dak Prescott, regardless of how you feel about him. So he still would be the 4th best quarterback, and he would be an aging quarterback, the oldest quarterback, and they would still have multiple holes. But maybe Stafford could bring a winning culture. His wife can have a show in New York. Her dreams can come true, and then they could add more pieces, and they'll still be 7-10, 8-9. But let me know, Giants fans. Let me know, Rams fans. Comment down below. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Hit the bell. We do this each and every day. More content coming your way through the NFL offseason, into the combine, free agency, and more. We got you right here on the Flex Home Podcast. Let me know down below.